Welcome to Jeff's How to Make Your Own Wide White Walls, where we're going to be taking an old crusty tire like this and make it into a nice pretty tire like that. Now you can use anything that's got a raised white wall or raised white letter. First tool we're going to use today is our trusty angle grinder with a 36 grit disc in it. You can see my disc has holes in it. I really like these discs because when you turn them on you can see through them. The other tool I'm using today is my trusty electric DA with an 80 grit paper on it.
The first thing we want to do is with our 36 grit grinder is we want to grind a stripe to see just how wide our white wall is going to end up being. Every raised white letter tire and narrow white wall tire has got a whole strip of white rubber underneath the black. We want to see just how wide that strip's going to be. Now that we've got that, we can use it as a guide to work our way around because we know where it stops. We don't need to go any further than that. Again, using our 36 grit grinder, I always like to start at the outside and work towards the middle. It seems to give a better result on this outside edge. It doesn't seem to tear the rubber up quite as much. Now using real light pressure on my grinder. If you use too much pressure, it'll dig in and leave a big gouge, and you don't want that in the middle of your white wall. You want to be careful too not to take too much rubber off because there's black under the white. So if you go through the white, you'll have a black spot in the middle of your white wall that doesn't go away. Remember to just use light pressure. Let the grinder do the work for you. You don't want to be digging into that white wall. You also want to be sure too, when you're doing the inside edge, don't grind on this bead. You could end up with sealing problems if too much rubber gets ground off down here. I can hear you asking, golly Jeff, isn't grinding on the side of a tire dangerous? I mean, don't I need that rubber? Well, I wondered that myself, so I cut one apart. Here's what it looks like. As you can see, there's only about a 64th of an inch of black rubber that we're taking off, so it's really not that important. I'll be honest with you, when you're done with this, you're going to stink like burnt rubber, and you're going to have a mess all over the place. Now you can see all the rubber we're taking off here, but that's okay, it's still fun. You can see why I like these see-through grinding discs. It makes things a whole lot easier. Now that we've got all our rough grinding done, we can brush it off, go through, and look for any spots that we missed. Although you probably can't tell in the video, the surface is still quite rough, so I'm just going to go through with my grinder and just smooth it out a little bit. Now that we've got all our grinding done, we can go through with the 80 grit on the DA. I like 80 grit because it's coarse enough that it'll chew the rubber up some, but it's fine enough that you get a real nice finish. The amount of work that you have to do with the DA depends on how well you are with the grinder. You don't really even need to use the DA at all, it just leaves a nice smooth finish. Once you've got all your grinding and sanding done, the last thing you want to do is take some Wesley's bleach white and clean it up real good. Get all that grinding dust off, any dirt. It'll also help remove any streaking that you may have gotten from the grinder, and it works quite well. Get everything scrubbed up good and hose it off. And we're left with a nice bright white wall.
There you have it, the finished product. Not bad for a set of used $10 junkyard tires in a few hours time. Sure, the edges are a little bit wavy, but for 10 bucks, who cares? Remember, like with anything, this is one of those things where practice makes perfect. If you want to try it yourself, I suggest you get a couple spare tires and give it a go.